Hello, everybody. So great to be together with you today. It's a holiday weekend starting, unless you happen to get this at a later date or another time or another place. But right now, it's holiday weekend starts. It's on a Wednesday, and tomorrow's Thanksgiving. How about that? And it's always kind of a different kind of time of year. Everybody kind of turns a different direction. They certain things they do, like parties and gatherings and things like that. And then other things we don't do, like go to work as much, right? Some people get off. I know we're going to close our offices for a couple of weeks over Christmas. And during this holiday time, we get to do extra things and do other things. And I hope you're getting to have a good time. I have a lot of great memories of Thanksgiving. Um, one of the Thanksgivings that I remember the most as a kid was my dad happened to be in the hospital. I think this I it might have been the last it might have been the last Thanksgiving we were with him, or it might have been the year before he was in the hospital during Thanksgiving because I know he did get out for Christmas. That's what it was. He was in the hospital for Thanksgiving, then he got out for Christmas, and then he passed on the 4th of July. Yeah. And so I remember that one because he was in the hospital and going visiting him in the hospital. And, they're trying to give him turkey in the hospital and stuff a little bit. And seeing everything was going on. And then when he got out, they wanted him to get out in time. And he got out, even though he wasn't completely well. And I didn't even know he was sick. Really, I didn't even get the comprehension that there was anything wrong with him. He didn't talk about it. I just knew he was in the hospital, and that was it. Um, and then he got out, though, and when he got out, then that's one of my most memorable Christmases with family too. We had a particular time I remember that Christmas. I should save a Christmas story for Christmas, but it's holiday, right? And I remember that one because my sister got a Beatles album for Christmas, and and my dad hated it. I know that's what part I remember about it, and so Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was the album, and we played it over and over and over, and he didn't care for it. But that's still a good memory. You look back on those things, and they're good memories. So I hope you're going to make a good memory and have the right frame of mind to be a blessing to everybody. And that's why I chose a scripture today from Philippians that starts out, which is from the 4th chapter, to don't be anxious, do not be anxious about anything. Don't be anxious about anything. I want to talk to you about anxiety just for a second because there is if I can use the word a little loosely, like a spirit, that can really get on you, that makes you anxious or panic attacks like that. But I've told people when you get anxious that you should, go after it in the spirit and just pray it away from you. And I found that anxiety is one of the easier ones to say no to and pray away, when it comes. But this, so, but I also want to make sure that you don't think that anxiety is just one thought. I mean, you can have a one thought, right? And that's not really anxiety. You can get anxious, like an anxious thought, a worry thought, but then you put it away. Well, that's not that you're not having spiritual difficulties with that, right? Anyway, the Bible teaches us, and Paul is saying, do not be anxious about anything. Okay, so that should apply today, and that should apply tomorrow. And the problem with holidays, as you know, is anxiety gets in, worry gets in, trying to get things right, trying to have everything perfect, and uh, things can go wrong. People show up late, uh, or in our case, we catered it one time to ourselves. We catered ourselves, and we had to make sure it got there on time. And so things happen. So this is the time to really come against anxiety because. You don't want to create a bad situation on a holiday like that because then the memory of the holiday is more the anxiety or the argument or the trouble or the worry, whatever. And You know, one of the worst things that can happen is something goes wrong or something doesn't work out. We get anxious, we get overly emotional or whatever, and we say things we shouldn't say, like, you've ruined Thanksgiving. There you have it. You ruined Thanksgiving. It happens every year. Somebody says it somewhere, right? And so this says, do not be anxious about anything. Okay. Well, there's a lot of things in the world to be anxious about. That's the problem, isn't it? There's a lot of things you can worry about. And so this is our key to it. But in every situation, all right, what's Thanksgiving? That's a situation, right? Trying to get everything. It's a situation. It has to be planned for, especially if you have a big family or guests over or whatever. But in every situation, all right, here's the solution by prayer and petition. All right, by prayer and petition. Okay. So what I find is when people get into situations, whether it's anxiety or just a situation they have to take care of, or unexpected something happens, and a lot of people do. They pray when they get into a circumstance or situation. That's good. And prayer and petitioning. One version I was reading this morning said with prayer and pleading. So I don't know how you feel about that. I don't like to think of pleading so much in prayer, but in anyway, petition. But then the key word for us today, right, is but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving. Now there's where we get a little hung up, because you get in a situation, you get anxious, you get worried, you're nervous, whatever, and you get into it, and maybe you will pray. But I notice a lot of people don't add thanksgiving to it. They don't add thanksgiving. And so it loses some of its power, because we are to pray, we are to petition, but Paul said, be sure and throw in thanksgiving. And when you do that, um, then it says, and the peace of God that transcends understanding will come. But you need to throw in thanksgiving when you pray, when you petition, when things don't go right, or maybe it's a long-term situation not going right, and you're in kind of continuous prayer about it because it's not going right or something's off. But be sure and add that thanksgiving to it. Now, in our case, in our country, we have the holiday Thanksgiving, and so we do it formally. We have Thanksgiving services at church, where we talk about Thanksgiving, because it's a holiday, right? But it's not everywhere. It's not a holiday, but everywhere we need to have Thanksgiving. And so for us Christians, particularly, Thanksgiving can't be just a holiday. It's a good time to remember it with friends and family and get together, etc. But Thanksgiving needs to be a part of our lives. Now, this is another thing we need to remember, because we are a very blessed nation, but we're not a very thankful nation. We're a blessed people, we're not a very thankful people. And so we live as you hear the word today a lot, entitlement. We have an entitlement generation. We have entitlements where we're entitled to things. And so we're handed things, and we're anxious, we're angry, we're bitter, or offended if we don't get what we feel we are entitled to, right? And so uh, I think it was, I can't remember what I was doing, a broadcast or whatever, and I talked about that. I think maybe it was on here too, that families need to have a servant attitude. Yeah, because otherwise we get entitled, and servants aren't entitled to things. Servants serve, and because they serve, they get things, because servants get stuff too, right? But um, but we don't want to have that spirit of entitlement. And that's why Thanksgiving is so important, because Thanksgiving sort of robs us of that feeling of I'm entitled. No, I got it. And I am thankful. I'm thankful for everything I have. I'm thankful for the goodness of God, thankful for my family, thankful that I get to serve. If you have a way of serving God, if you're serving some way, wow, be thankful. And so Thanksgiving needs to be a part of our lives. It's powerful, powerful, powerful. I can't suggest that enough to you, that you include Thanksgiving in all your prayers and all your days with the attitude of thanksgiving, because it is powerful and it keeps the peace of God going. It helps us get answered prayers, because that's part of it. Petition, prayer, and thanksgiving. Let your requests be known to God. And then it says that anxiety then will get taken care of, because you're following God's pattern. You're praying about it, and then it says, and the peace that it's hard to understand, peace that doesn't make sense, maybe, right? Isn't that what it says? Transcends all understanding. It guards your heart and your mind, right? So this should be a way of life. Now, the other, I was talking earlier about it, some people get under the bondage of anxiety and panic attacks, and I know that they can be real. And that's the part where some spiritual warfare, that kind of prayer, because it's coming, um, that's coming from the outside. That's coming from the outside in. But this kind is in our control when Paul says, don't be anxious about anything. Well, if it's coming at you like a spiritual force or a enemy, an evil spirit, maybe even, but this anxiety, panic, or whatever, worry thing, if it's coming at you, then it's not just don't do it. You need to do something else. But in this case, this anxiety is coming from you. This is natural, uh, humans who have who get anxious, and we create it. It's self-created anxiety, or we could say worry, or all the other words that could go along with that, right? And so this is like we can control it, but it wants to happen. It wants to control us. And so what does he say? Well, here's what you do to control the anxiety that's trying to grow out of you, come up in you. Doesn't mean you're demon possessed, right? It's not a demonic thing. Anxiety can be overwhelming as an evil spirit, I think, at times, or worry or whatever. Fear obviously can be a spirit, but in this case, even fear, anxiety, worry, fear, there's a naturalness to it that humans have that we need to be in charge of, right? And that's what Paul's talking about. You can be in charge of anxiety and fear and worry. So take charge of it. How do you do it? Prayer, petition, and thanksgiving. Because Thanksgiving just releases, um, it just releases us into a place of appreciation, and anxiety takes a back seat, because this peace of God comes that's beyond understanding, transcends understanding. And it's just you got something happening here, you between you and God, you got something happening. I haven't said hi to anybody today. I see Nathan and let's see. Oh, Nathan. Julie. Yeah, Julie says happy Thanksgiving. Nice to have you say that. And let me read over here. Jed and Jeremiah and Thorin and Karen. Ramsey's watching. Oh, Karen, I didn't mean to say your last name. I try not to. Sorry about that. But anyway, got some people watching and coming on this Thanksgiving weekend coming up. But anyway, so Thanksgiving is a power that you need to harness, and anxiety is not one that you want. You need to control anxiety and fear and worry. And one way you do it, prayer, petition, and thanksgiving, right? And it says, I like this, that it says, and let your request, be known to God. Tell God these requests. And but there's an insinuation. It's insinuated that God's going to hear them, right? So God, has never been anxious about anything. I always laugh at it. We want to sometimes talk to God and tell him all the things we're worried about, and then add on, you know what I mean? You know how I feel? You know what I mean, don't you? And like, well, he's never been anxious about anything, but he'll do his best to feel for you, right? But so we don't want to allow anxiety, fear, worry, all those things that get into us. And then and those things can produce other things, right? Uh, Irritability, get short, talking harsh to people. And so in holiday time, it happens too, right? Because some people do worry a lot about holiday plans. I Our family doesn't. We're not big like this is it. We have to make this the most special day of the year. and even Christmas. We enjoy it, but you know, every day is a great day with God, and so we enjoy the festivities of Christmas and holidays, Thanksgiving, and the lights and all that kind of stuff. But but it's a those are man-made holidays, especially Christmas, right? In the flavor that it is. Yeah, in Christians we say we're remembering the birth of Jesus, but the world has made it into something else, right? But I don't try to make it into this sacred day. As a matter of fact, you might find this interesting that if you study history of the church and Christianity, you'll find out that the early churches of the first century didn't hardly, I don't think there's a record of them celebrating. I couldn't find one. That doesn't mean they didn't one. But I don't think they traditionally celebrated the birth of Jesus. That came later with the Catholics and everything. But they did celebrate more. They were more celebrating and talking about the resurrection of Jesus because that's life changing, right? To everybody. And so just some interesting little thing, not to take away from your Christmas or anything, but a lot of people do. They get very anxious and worry because they're trying to make the day so special and above every other day. And things do go wrong sometimes. So I don't want to make it like so sacred of a day that it can be ruined. We just take it in stride, and it's a good time to get together. It's a nice day to not have to go to work. I have to be careful. I'll work every day because I enjoy my work and what I do, and pursuing God so much. I'll just be pastoring and talking to people. I'll work every day. So I gotta work at not working. How about that? But that's the day Thanksgiving. Everybody, we're not supposed to work on it, right? That's our holiday off. And so, but anyway, don't let it get overwhelming to you, and share that with the rest of your family if you can. If you're getting together with family that they do get overwhelmed easily, or they try to make it, picture perfect turkey every time, and maybe it doesn't turn out that way. We want to make sure that we continue to be thankful for what we have, and most of all, thankful for the people we have, right? And that'll get you on track. You can pray about things, you get anxious about stuff. Maybe you're anxious even today, or somebody will listen later today, tonight, and you tend to get anxious on holidays because you want everything to be so perfect. Maybe this will help you. Pray about it. Petition God and ask God to make it perfect, or as perfect as it can be, since people aren't perfect, right? And then start thanking Him for your family. Thank Him for the holiday. Thank you for getting together. Thank you. Thank if you're spending with friends. Um, Thankful for your friends. And find something to be thankful for. And being thankful. Remember, it's the right thing to do, but it is a power. Okay, it's a power. That's why you got to add the thanksgiving to your prayers and petitions, because sometimes we're only praying about problems, and then the problems continue. But Thanksgiving releases a power of peace in our lives, and so it's obviously it's more than a holiday, right? It's a power. And so if we remember that, we can enjoy the holiday and enjoy our friends, all that we do Thanksgiving. And now people, I don't know how many radio stations will start playing Christmas carols now. Just go across and get it. And I noticed last year, in the last few years, it's getting harder and harder to find the Christmas hymns. "Oh Come All You Faithful," and all those songs, "Joy to the World." But you get a lot of Santa Claus coming to town. And next time you hear the song, I'm getting off the subject. Next time you hear the song "Here Comes Santa Claus," I think it's that. No, that's right. When it says in Santa Claus comes tonight, that part. Listen to the line right before it. It says that you thank the Lord above that Santa Claus is coming tonight. Well, I can tell you, you can thank the Lord above with thanksgiving all you want to, but Santa ain't coming, right? So I thought that was a hilarious line, that we're to thank the Lord above that Santa Claus is coming. Okay, you get it. So now I ruined that song for you, but you can just laugh at it, right? Just laugh and enjoy. As I continue, once a year, I pick a song out that I don't think's the greatest, you know. But Zion, what's that song Mariah Carey always sings about? What is that? Yeah, all I want for Christmas is you. Well, now that song can't be enjoyed as much either. Do you know why? Because she's being sued that she didn't write it. Another guy wrote it, and I went and listened to the other guy's song, and he might have a case, and it came out first. But anyway, so there you go. It's that time of year, right? But the reason I do that is I don't want people to let the holidays get out of hand where we take them so serious because, Jesus is Lord every single day, and He needs to be told and served and worshiped and with thanksgiving. So add an extra dose of Thanksgiving tomorrow, right? Because we set that day aside for it. But then don't forget to do it all the time. So the peace of God will be yours all the time in every situation, in every circumstances. We'll be praying, petitioning with thanksgiving. Well, let me remind you, if you haven't gotten it, I wouldn't know why you haven't gotten it, to go to morefaithmorelife.com and download the booklet that you can still get for free. It doesn't cost you anything. If you only knew, the guide to the clueless generation. And it's still free. We're going to have hard copies coming out soon, and then we'll probably get some money, buy one of those maybe. But you can get those plus the other books we've added. Follow the Fire and When the Kingdom Comes and My Absurd Religion are all right there. So you get those. So get caught up with me before I start another one, and then you'll have to get caught up even more because I'm thinking about another quick book to put out in a hurry. Well, have a great holiday. I hope some of this has been good wisdom for you to take with you on your Thanksgiving.